Welcome to Pennsylvania Newsmakers, and as always, thanks for watching. Well, money mistakes that matter, but first, is it time for marijuana legislation? As they say, let's get to it.
Welcome to the fast-paced and unrehearsed weekly discussion featuring the leaders who help shape your world. Join us as we address the issues that impact you each and every day. This is Pennsylvania Newsmakers. And now, here's your host, Terry Madonna.
Well, before we get into the content of the program this week, we want to wish Speaker of the House Brian Cutler a speedy recovery from COVID-19. The best to you, Mr. Speaker. Get better soon. And secondly, Governor Wolf is scheduled to appear on the program in 2 weeks, so we're looking forward to his appearance. Joining me now is John Cole. He's the managing editor of Politics Pennsylvania, PoliticsPA to be exact. We'll put the stuff up in a minute. Great website. You feature a zillion stories. That's an exaggeration, but when you go through, it takes you half a day to read all of them, doesn't it?
We try to cover all of our bases. Every corner of the state is important, so we don't want to miss anything. And there's, even though it's it's not a presidential election year, there's still a ton to talk about, as always, Terry.
Oh, absolutely. All right, there's been a rally, and there seems to be impetus for legalizing recreational marijuana in the state. Now, the voters in the state approve it. 59-60% in many polls approve it. And we have New Jersey and New York approving recreational marijuana, and Virginia lessening the penalties for it, if I got that all right. So what's going on in Pennsylvania now?
So like you said, over the past few years, this conversation has sort of evolved. On the topic. We've seen public sentiment grow that now, in polling, like you've mentioned, over 50% of those in the state approve of it. Democrats have largely approved of this for several years. Governor Tom Wolf is a supporter now. He spoke out in favor of it in the past few years. His Lieutenant Governor, John Fetterman, has been in favor for several years, back when he ran for U.S. Senate in 2016.
Right.
That was part of his campaign message. But Republicans have certainly been weary of it, and not all Democrats, to be fair, are united behind this yet as well. But this week on 420, which, at the state capitol, there was a rally for supporters to recreational legalization of marijuana for adults. Of course, Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, who is running for U.S. Senate, he spoke at it. And in the state legislature, we've seen more Democrats support it. And for the first time, just 2 months ago, we finally saw a Republican sign on to legislation. State Senator Dan Laughlin, a Republican from Erie County, and State Senator Sharif Street, a Democrat from Philadelphia, they introduced the first bipartisan legislation in Pennsylvania to legalize marijuana. Now, again, there is not enough widespread support in the state legislature for that to pass quite yet, but it's the first time in Pennsylvania that we've had a Republican sign on to it, which kind of indicates that perhaps the tide is turning a tad on it. In their pitch to voters about their legislation, they've made it a case that it can bring jobs to the state. They believe it can bring thousands of jobs, and they believe the tax revenue as well could be significant.
The money matters.
Yes, and they also point to some of our neighboring states, like you said, about New Jersey and New York passing legislation. So they believe, supporters of it believe that they don't want to get left behind in this industry that is now growing. And of course, let's not forget there are those who oppose it. Again, there's still a lot in the state legislature. Again, we don't have a majority right in the state legislature that support this.
Now, the interesting question and the problem for the supporters of it is, let's be honest, and we're being objective about this, the Republicans control the state legislature. They're conservative, and I'm using that not in a pejorative way, just a descriptive way. Republicans control the legislature, and there isn't any evidence yet that there's widespread support among Republicans in the legislature. Am I right or wrong about that?
You're definitely correct there, Terry. And again, I think they're listening to their constituents, to be fair. Again, it's for the most part, some of these more conservative districts have not gone on board yet with it. However, I think it's still a significant moment that you saw for the first time a Republican sign on for this. Senator Laughlin up in Erie County, that's a swing county. It's a pretty moderate area. But him signing on, again, it certainly doesn't have the support yet to pass a state legislature, but I think it's a sign that things are perhaps turning a bit in that direction. Is it going to happen tomorrow for supporters of it? No, it's certainly going to take some time. It's been a few years some of these people have been pushing for it, but I think it shows that there's been some progress in that direction. Of course, those who oppose it believe that it's not going to bring the jobs that the supporters say it's going to bring. Some of the people who oppose think the risks outweigh the potential benefits too.
Look, we're going to run to a break. When we come back, as you put it, it's not too early to talk about 2022. We have an important governor's race, an important Senate race, and we don't want to forget legislative races and congressional races. It's going to be a big year. We'll be back with our conversation with John Cole.
This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is presented by the Pennsylvania Chamber of Business and Industry, the statewide voice of business, and by the Pennsylvania State Education Association and Partners for Public Education, bringing the power of a great education to our schools, our students, and our communities. This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is brought to you by the Pennsylvania Highway Information Association, the go-to source to learn about transportation projects and issues. Please visit pahighwayinfo.org. And by the Pennsylvania Manufacturers Association. Business in Pennsylvania is our business.
Now, I realize we're in 2021, not 2022, but already there's tremendous interest, and it's growing with each passing week in a governor's race and a Senate race that'll take place in Pennsylvania. And they're going to get a great deal of not just state attention, but national attention. John Cole, what do we need to know about? Let's talk about the Senate race, where every day there's a new candidate.
The field is forming, and it's growing, it seems, as by the day, Terry. So again, to just talk about the importance of the U.S. Senate race next year, Senator Pat Toomey, a Republican, decided he's not going to seek a third term. He made it clear, I guess, when he first ran, he wanted to term limit himself. And when he announced last fall that he would not seek another election, I think it already opened up the floodgates for Democrats and Republicans alike. And just to stress the importance, the last time Pennsylvania had an open Senate race was 2010. So again, these races don't happen often, and they're expensive. In 2016, when Senator Pat Toomey ran for re-election and edged out Democrat Katie McGinty from Philadelphia, that was the second most expensive Senate race in the nation that year.
Right.
And again, millions and millions poured from in the state and out of state television ads. I'm sure people got pretty tired of it towards the end of all the ads. But again, that was a very important race in 2016, and it looks like 2022 is going to be even more important. Larry Sabato's crystal ball, the Cook Political Report, have it as a toss-up right now.
Right.
And again, I know we're very far away, but right now it's early indication to toss-up. CNN has it as the most important Senate race as well. So we're seeing that there's a lot of candidates jumping in for the sole purpose that everyone knows that there's a chance that right now the Senate is 50-50.
I was going to say, add to that, 50-50 Senate. I mean, this state could decide which party is in the majority, after 2022, correct?
Exactly. And the thing is, considering how close Pennsylvania was during the presidential election, even though Joe Biden defeated Donald Trump, it was by a rather slim margin. It wasn't, a several-point victory. So I think it goes to show you the importance of the battleground state of Pennsylvania. And we've seen some of these candidates jump in earlier than usual in past elections. Sometimes they take months and months to mull it over, and some of them still are. But it's important to note that the first quarter officially ended of 2021. And again, the field is not totally formed yet, but some of these numbers have popped out, and it kind of gives you an idea of what the money race is going to look like.
Well, we also have Governor Wolf, who's term limited, and you'd have to go back 40 or 50 years to find a time when we had a governor's race in Pennsylvania and a Senate race in Pennsylvania in which there was no incumbent in either contest.
And again, that's why the spotlight, if you thought Pennsylvania had a lot of attention in 2020, which it did, you can make the case 2022 will even be more fascinating because, again, there's the open Senate race and the open governor's race. And again, you look at national ratings outlets, both of them, both really indicate that they seem to be toss-ups right now. Again, we're going to watch the field form. There's a lot of candidates that haven't formally announced. Some have announced exploratory committees. Some have launched political action committees to start raising money. But we're still seeing the field form, but it's starting right now, and some of these candidates are raising a significant amount of cash as we speak.
Yeah, I mean, John Fetterman, close to $4 million? Probably as you and I speak, it's over $4 million.
Yeah, the first quarter, he jumped in rather early. In January, he announced his candidacy, started raising money. Another high-profile Democrat raised over in the $300,000 range was State Representative Malcolm Kenyatta as well. He's a state rep from Philadelphia. He raised a decent amount, but don't forget, there's other candidates that are still weighing runs.
Sure, and some of them who've indicated they're going to run aren't going to file next year actually for to run in their respective primary.
Yeah, exactly. The field is still forming, but it's noteworthy to look at those numbers to see who is possibly gearing up. So just one person I'd like to mention for Congress, Chrissy Julian hasn't announced that she's running for U.S. Senate yet, but she's acknowledged that she's interested in it, and she raised $580,000 in the first quarter, which is the most of any congressional incumbent in the state of Pennsylvania, the 18-member delegation, and she had over $3 million cash on hand, which would be more than Fetterman's right now as well. So it's a pretty significant amount of money she's raised. Now, again, that doesn't mean necessarily she's definitely going to run for Senate, but there are others that have not formally announced, but they're raising a lot of money, which makes you think they have to have some interest in that race, which will be very expensive.
John, I want to thank you for coming in. We had another topic we wanted to get to, but we've got another guest coming on. How about this? Money mistakes that matter. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about the pocketbook. We'll be back.
This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is brought to you by Cross-State Credit Union Association. Credit unions, where people are worth more than money. To find a credit union that is right for you, go to ibelong.org. And by the Energy Association of Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania's energy information source. This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is brought to you by the Association of Pennsylvania State College and University Faculties, representing the faculty and coaches who are devoted to providing quality public higher education for Pennsylvania's college students.
Well, we're turning to a very, very important topic, money mistakes that matter. Joining me to chat about that is Joel Slagan. He's the CEO of the Timberland Federal Credit Union. I think I got that right, Joel.
That's correct, Terry. Timberland, we're up in the Center County region, right outside of Penn State. So go Penn State. Our headquarters are up in Du Bois, Pennsylvania. So it's just a little bit further up from the Penn State arena.
All right. Well, I think everybody obviously cares about their finances and money, and there are mistakes that people can make. Let's go through a couple of them for our viewers.
Yeah, that's right up my alley. I actually love doing financial literacy, and I'll answer that. Just real quick, I want to first start off by thanking you, Terry, for having me on your show, Pennsylvania Newsmakers, and of course a shout out to the Cross-State Credit Union Association. Without them, credit unions across this great state of Pennsylvania would not be able to do all the great things they do. So big thank you all around. To answer your question, some of the big mishaps. One of my favorite ones is not being honest with yourself when you're preparing a budget. And I gotta tell you, the first time I did a budget, I miserably failed. So I tweaked it. I made it great. But no, I didn't. I miserably failed again. I failed over and over and over again because I wasn't being honest with myself. I missed certain things, little things like gas money. You need gas to get to work. I missed things like going out. You live one life. You got to have fun, and you can't make your budget so tight where you're not having fun. So being honest or not being honest with yourself is probably the biggest mishap. I would say after that is not seeking help. Get others. In the credit union movement, credit unions all across this state are eager and willing to sit down. It's our passion to help our communities and the people with budgets. So seek that help as you would seek help when your car breaks down, because we all go to a mechanic when something is sounding funny in our car. When something is looking funny in our budget, we should seek help within the credit union movement. The old adage, when you get knocked down, get back up. I fail in my budget today. I have over 20 years of banking experience and credit union experience, and my budgets aren't perfect. So I do seek outside help. I go to people smarter than me that have a different set of eyes and help guide me through my budgetary process. Things things go crazy.
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
look what we're in now, so that's another big one. And just knowing that one size does not fit all.
Yeah, I want to get to how to manage your money wisely. But before I do that, I mean, you hit a very important topic, and that is underestimating expenses, going out, going to dinner, socializing, all those things that we know we're going to do, but we may not adequately put them in a budget.
Sure. It's like I said, it's the biggest mistake that I see people make when I sit down and do budgets with our members here at Timberland. So, and I am sure that the same goes for all credit unions throughout the state. So,
all right, we're going to let's run to a break, and we come back. Let's talk about managing your money wisely. And if we have time, I want to get to financial first responders. These are critically important subjects, and we'll get to them after these words.
This broadcast of Pennsylvania Newsmakers is brought to you by the Pennsylvania Medical Society. Inspired physicians committed to the good health of Pennsylvanians and the advancement of the practice of medicine.
All right, Joel, if money mistakes that matter is one side of it, then what about managing your money wisely? I'll put it that way. I think that's the flip side of the question you've been answering in the first segment with you.
Sure. The biggest top thing that comes to mind is not leaving money on the table. So all too often, I see people that are in jobs, they have 401ks or 403bs or what have you. They do not match that 5%. So I think that's key. That's not really getting down to the grassroots of managing money. But I think that's key because why turn away free money? So I think if your company is offering 5%, I think you definitely have to match that 5%. Because you won't miss the money as much if it's coming directly out of your paycheck. So after that, the real struggle begins in managing your money. But that, I think, is essential in the first step. So now you get your paycheck, and hopefully you deducted the full amount that you could. It really comes down to the next step, which I think is just as important, is paying yourself. That is a crucial part. If you pay yourself, just set a little bit aside, be a big saver, and you'll be ready for when things happen, such as this pandemic we're in right now.
Yeah,
a little bit better.
Let me go to another aspect of this, and you deal with this regularly. How many people, just a general estimate, do you deal with who aren't really prepared for retirement? In other words, they get to retirement and suddenly they find they don't have adequate resources to, do the basic things that are necessary.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go with the J.D. Power survey that came out just last year. Something that they mentioned in there that 8 out of 10 families are in fear of losing their job due to the pandemic, losing hours, and they do not, 80-some%, 83, 84%, whatever was in there, they don't have enough set aside. So 8 out of 10, I think that is huge. And I talk to a lot of people that they're willing to just give up and say, it's just me. You're not alone. There is a lot of people that they do not put enough aside. And it's easy. It's easy for people to say. To actually do it, it's very, very hard. So you got to take small steps. It's very important. Just take small steps. Look, when you're on a diet, you don't say, I'm going to lose 20 pounds next week, right? You say, I'm going to do 2 pounds at a time or something.
Small steps, but you need to start it as early as possible. You can't do it very, very late in your work career. You've got to, at least that's my understanding, you've got to start it, be regular about it, and make sure that you're taking advantage of every tax opportunity or employer opportunity to save for retirement.
Absolutely. Save early, save often, as they say. The compound interest is on your side. So the earlier you start, the much better you're going to be later on in life.
All right, let's go to the last question. Financial first responders, who are they and what do they do?
The financial first responders, when you go into a credit union or a bank, any financial institution, they're all heroes that are often left out. So when you walk into an institution, it's usually the people behind the line. They are the responders. They are the financial heroes. They are the voice of the credit union or the bank. They are the face of the credit union or the bank. So they do it all. And a lot of people, they think that they're just there to do the $20 withdrawal or $50 deposit. Sure. There is so much more that they do. A lot of times that, when you exit the credit union, they turn around and do other back office operations, such as ACH, so very important, which is posting your payroll check. Everyone wants that to happen. So, the first responders are often the people that you see when you walk into the lobbies. They truly are the financial heroes.
Yeah, but
not me, because when I jump in and try to help, they have a big mess to clean up. So they like when I don't go behind the teller line. So the teller line is really where it's all
but
at.
the fact of the matter is that finding the right individual, you've got to be comfortable with them. You've got to be concerned about what commissions they're charging. I mean, this all gets very, very complicated, and you have to have a sense of satisfaction in dealing with these people to know that you're working with the right person.
Oh, absolutely. Trust is a huge thing. If you don't trust where you're banking, that's never good for anyone. I mean, you gotta have that trust, as you said, Terry, because it does get dicey. Yep.
Yeah. So is there a process to go through? Should you be looking at more than one source for that, more than one company? I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Again, I'm going to go back to the one size does not fit all. That really holds true for everything. Shop around, find that right fit for you. And I will tell you, I'm a little biased here, Terry. I think credit unions, you can't go wrong with credit unions, no matter where you're at, whether you're down in the Philadelphia area, great credit unions down there, in the Harrisburg area, great credit unions down there. A lot of those leaders in the movement, I have learned so much from. So again, I'm a little biased by saying you just can't go wrong in a credit union.
Yeah, again, that may be one of the most critical aspects of finding someone. You want a comfort level. We're almost out of time. You want a comfort level with the individual. Absolutely.
That's a must.
All right. Well, look, I want to thank you for coming on. This is very, very helpful advice and information that you provided. All right. We'll see you next week for another edition of Pennsylvania Newsmakers. And as always, stay well.